See Abarera Legos Ram Ori Banish C10 Demonio Dinaja 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 Abarera Legos Ram Ori Banish
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Apocrypha, Thaddeus Dade by Mystic. Oh, we've actually swapped spots. He's normally on this side that I'm.
I didn't do it.
Well, it's because like I'm just bored. I'm tired. I'm so tired of the over. Like it's just too much to me. Um, so I was like, screw it. And at least this way, you guys get or who's talking. You know who's talking.
Right.
So throw the logo in there and boom, done. Thank you. Thank you. It is Stellan Art Collective. I have a few collection. Simple little logo for. Hope everyone is doing. Kind of grab the subject for tonight on the fly, but I thought it'd be something pertinent to talk about because it is right, and June represents very a lot of people. So we're talking. We've got Pride Month, and mental health awareness, and fortunately, some unbeknownst, hold on, camera focusing on behind me instead of focusing on.
Bad camera.
Yeah, right. And so, that being said, like honestly, I don't think that necessarily separate desire to kind of fight with each other as to whether or not what month it is. Men's Mental Health Month, Pride Month. Hey, it's both of them. Both can exposure because at the end of the month, at the end of the day, right?
Just once a month.
Exactly. At the end of the day, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but
The
so
beard, isn't it?
they're right. Like they're both dudes. They're gay dudes, but they're still dudes, and they still fall in health awareness talked about, right? So I don't see like why people kind of fighting this idea that standing up for ridiculous. But before we get into it, Mystic is global.
Yes. So the deck that I am using today is called Incromancy 6, Monsters and Myths. It's from the Weird Ink Society, so I want you to see the box. So I have used Weird Ink Society for quite a while. And this group I've mentioned before, because we've looked at, there's 3 other decks so far that I've had of theirs. The decks number 2, 3, and 5. This is their 6th. Or maybe it's 2, 4, and 5. But either way, this
these are
deck
those
is really
tattoo
cool.
ones.
It is, yeah. So the tattoo group, the Weird Ink Society, gets together like every year just about and makes a new tarot set, and they each have their own little,
Nice.
um,
Little twist to it.
yeah. And so some of it's traditional, and so a lot of the cards are connected, and a lot of them are not, so they can feel disjointed to some people. But I absolutely love them. Just so you see what the back looks like here. Very, it's reversible. Like you can. Hold on. Can't. And this is just a random card I picked. So this is the Four of Wands. And they're all different styles. So as you can see in this one, they're all artwork from tattoo artists, and the tattoo artist is listed on every card. Just a very neat way that they make them, and I absolutely love all of their decks. It's really good decks, the best decks you'll ever find. And I just am a huge fan. So the other cool thing about them is they're only good, not only good, they're limited print. So once they make a run of them, once they're done, they're gone. So I missed out on the very first one and one of the other ones, so I will never get to see those unless I pay like $1,000 because they go for really high amounts. But they print 1,000 decks, and that's it. Funny story on this one. I got the box, I opened it up, and I looked at the box, and I said, okay, I must have been high because I bought 8 decks, 8 copies of this deck. So apparently I really liked it, or I was high. So I bought 8 copies of it.
You bought 8
and
copies of the deck?
I did, and I have no clue how or why. So here we are.
You're going to sell me one, right?
That's a Kickstarter, so yeah, I mean, I'd give one. But yeah, they're fucking amazing. So I gave a couple of them out. I've given away 4 decks so far. So yes, I have more.
All right, well, hold one because one of them's mine.
I will. So we're going to start with our read. So this is our energetic read. Let's look what we got. Our first card is the Hierophant. So this particular card, you can see like like I said, they're all in a different style. But the Hierophant is a really cool card from the Major Arcana, and it really talks about and brings energy about things that are, what's the best way to say this? I don't want to say evangelical. They are, a lot of people say the Hierophant is about, being learned or being taught to, or representing the teacher, but it's more than that. It's a teacher of things that are unbendable and unbreakable in a world that needs to be adaptable. So this could mean that you're applying something a little bit too strictly to your frame of view or frame of reference, meaning maybe a situation has arisen and you're not looking at it from any other perspective other than an exact perfect science that it has to be a certain way. And as we know, things can't always be a certain way. The Hierophant, yes, does represent a teacher, but it represents teaching of something that is set and unbendable and unbreakable and immovable. And those things don't work really well. So look around and see what's going on in your life and things that are like not going that well or you're not feeling good about, and think, am I being too rigid? Am I being too specific? Am I being too hardcore on this and maybe need to loosen up or try a different perspective or move my energy in a different way to make this work or learn something new? Allow your mind to be changed. The Hierophant does not like change. The Hierophant is like the Sunday school teacher that teaches Jesus is the Son of God, and there is no way you can challenge that. But the Hierophant shows up in our tarot when we do need to challenge it, and we have to do that. So, like I said, look around and see if anything around you is not working or needs to be adjusted, and try to apply a different perspective or learn something new about it, and maybe you'll get it to work. Our next card clarifies things a little bit with the Ace of Swords. So this is talking about things that we are thinking of. So this might be actually going to a physical school or teaching and thinking that you have it all figured out already. Ace of Swords tells me we may be a little bit in over our heads when we're starting this new project or this new thing that we're doing. So in the kind of same idea of being too rigid, the Ace of Swords is saying, yeah, you know what, you're being kind of closed-minded. You're really stuck on one thing, and you aren't being open to something being done in a different way. So again, keeping your mind open and thinking about how we can manage things differently and look at things from other perspective is going to be a huge part. And then we have the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is a card that comes up for me when our security and our safety of the things around us are reaching a point of stability. They're not quite there yet. Things might still feel a little wishy-washy or up in the air, but they're not. And you'll get there in a minute. It just is going to take some more time. The next card out of the group would have been the Four of Pentacles if we're talking about the cycle, right? And the Four of Pentacles is representing that we've met that structure or that soundness of our environment, that first level of Maslow's hierarchy. The Three is saying we're not quite there yet. So you may feel like things are up in the air or things aren't really working just like they're supposed to, but they're feeling better and they're feeling like you're going towards it. Overall, the energy of the read is saying everything's going to work out, but you have to stop being closed-minded, or rather, you need to open your mind a little bit more to new ideas and new thoughts and new ways to perceive something so that it can actually get you where you need to go. So that's the energy read for this week. Open your mind, let things process, and let your mind be able to do things in a different way.
Roof of your car is lovely.
I know. I have to put it down a second to put the cards away. If I don't, the cards will fall on the floor.
All good. Hmm.
It's actually a glass roof, but we put a cover on it because it gets so damn hot.
Oh, really?
Mhm. It's really hard to put tarot in when you're in a car holding the iPad.
Yeah,
Hi.
I can imagine.
Yeah. See, Tesla, Fort Myers, dust, or Cape Coral, actually. All right, we're good.
I think that's such a funny situation right now with Elon Musk. Like socially speaking, I think it's a hilarious situation.
Well, the bumper sticker on this car says the anti Elon Musk Tesla Club.
Well, the reason I think
Although,
the current situation is funny though, everybody wanted to jump down his throat when he first went in and he was in Doge and shit like that. And now that old boy hates Trump for one reason or whatever, right? It's like everybody's now like, I'm sorry, I smashed the windows on your fucking Tesla. Like, it's like you
well,
shouldn't have fucking done
isn't
this shit to begin with.
isn't that like a massive turn of events though that nobody saw coming? Hopefully, you can hear the sarcasm there.
Yeah.
Nobody saw this breakup happening.
I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Like I heard he was stepping down from Doge and everything was good, and then like 2 days later, like he's putting him on blast on fucking X or some shit. And I'm just
Oh dear, yes, that's
I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like I don't like my politics like High School Musical. I really don't. Like
right.
I just it shouldn't be a fucking drama.
Right now, our car is in full self-driving mode, and so far, it's doing pretty good.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good. That's good.
Brad
That's
uses
why
it a lot. I
that's the
don't
type of
trust it.
car my son wants because he has this fantastical idea that he's not going to need to learn how to drive because the car can drive itself.
Well,
So
it does okay.
yeah, but you know, it's I don't know, it's funny. It's funny. Actually I saw my first Cybertruck today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like on TV, like seeing them on a screen, they look kind of goofy. Seeing it up front, the like it up like face to face, it looked kind of cool.
it's big, but it looks like a big ass trash can to me.
Something like that. Like, it looks like it wants to be like a stealth fighter, some kind. You know,
Yeah,
like one of the old school, like like 17 stealth fighter jet. Looked like a giant black triangle.
I can see that.
Yeah. So
Too bad the glue on the panels fails.
yeah, I've heard there's a lot of problems with them.
Hmm. I love this car, the Model Y that we're in. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of very helpful features. Like if I leave my handheld in here or any electronics, it'll keep the temperature below 90 degrees for you,
Really?
and then it'll be cold when you come back in. So like we were at Naples Pride today, and so when we were leaving and walking back to the car, we told the car, "Hey, we're on our way back," and it was 68 degrees when we got to it.
That's nice.
So that
That's
stuff's
nice.
nice. Yeah.
It is smart vehicle. I'm sorry. So for those of you that don't know, Dyra isn't feeling well. Pregnancy is kind of but proud of her. She has her water bottle rest as like so she's just kind of like there just like It's just cute. Um, uh,
I hope she feels better because that's not fun.
there's good days and bad days. I mean, it's more like days are kind of broken up, feeling okay and feeling shit. Like there's like good
Yeah.
hours and bad hours, like rather than good days and bad days. So, um, yeah, that. So anyway, on to the subject that we're talking about. Um, I've seen a lot of. This is the first year that I've seen a lot of posts about men's health. Very happy to. Um, but the problem that I'm having now that there are more posts, at least on my FYP, um, regarding mental health, there seems to be a lot of people that there are people talking about men's health that we've forgotten about Pride Month or that it's being deleted or removed. And kind of getting irritated with the idea that just because one thing exists, it means something else can't. You know, like there isn't enough space for us to appreciate and understand the necessity for both things. And this isn't just about June, Pride Month, um, Men's Mental Health Month. It seems to be a running theme with a lot of things in life in general, which is very interesting because I don't understand. You're going in and out on your microphone. That's probably because I don't have it cranked. Now I just cranked it. So it should be fine now. Let me know if it continues to do it. But I don't like, I'm noticing that there's this running theme where for some reason people have this idea that for one thing to exist, something else can exist, and vice versa. And it's really irritating because you get to this point where you feel like you can't say that you want to talk about the other thing for fear that other people are going to think that you're ignoring the other thing. So, and I told Mystic, like he asked me like, what's the topic for tonight? And I said, honestly, I think we need to build a bridge for this because it's something that kind of needs to stop happening. We need to stop treating shit like this. There's a massive bridge between, like, I know I've talked about this a million times, but like there's a massive bridge between Mystic and myself. You know, there's quite a bit of history there where that if we didn't meet at the time frame that we did, we probably wouldn't be as good of friends as we are now. You know, and there needs to be an understanding here that there's space for everything to kind of exist and for us to be able to kind of like identify and say like, okay, time and place, right? We're going to talk about this today. We'll talk about the next thing tomorrow, like, tit for tat type of thing. I don't know. Mystic, maybe you can explain it a little bit better than I'm explaining it.
I mean, it's simple. And the biggest argument that I've seen on all this lately has been, how can we celebrate an entire month for gay pride, yet we don't have a month for veterans? Veterans are so much more important. We do have a month for veterans, but it's not, none of those things are mutually exclusive. This goes back to me to Black Lives Matter discussions.
Mm-hmm.
When you say Black Lives Matter, you're not saying nobody else matters. You're just saying right now there's a disproportionate issue, and so we're focusing on this thing right now. And that's, one of the first things that I think about. The second thing is, I I don't like the term pride. Like it's kind of irritating. I'm not a big fan of it because the pride thing is not about pride really. It's the ability to be yourself and be able to be proud, to be strong enough to be yourself in the face of adversity.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it comes from, and it's kind of lost its meaning. And I kind of feel like it shouldn't be called pride anymore. but it is. But like, back to the original point, or the main point that you're talking about, it really is this idea that, sorry about my video and stuff, y'all, that you can be in for more than one cause, you can support more than one thing, and doing so, we're human beings, we're meant to be able to do things like this, like be multifaceted. We don't have to just have one thing that we can focus on, because we're human, we have the ability to focus on lots of things. So when we talk about a bridge, it's that you don't have to be one to be the other, you don't have to be either to be able to stand for both. So I have been lucky not to have significant, as an adult anyway, mental illness. Doesn't mean that I don't still want to support it because of the experiences that I've had,
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah, and I do think that the whole pride thing, like just in general, the word pride, at least when it comes to types of people, I do think it kind of needs to be removed, because how do I say this? Like, you can say, I am proud to be this, I am proud to be that, and that is perfectly fine. The first time, and I've seen so many people like flip this script and go stupid with it, right? But the first time that somebody turns around and says, yeah, I'm proud to be white, everyone's like, what the fuck did you say? like, like, and I think like the people that are saying that don't mean it in the white supremacist sense. I just think that they have like they're not capable of reading the room correctly, and maybe don't have a very good vernacular or choice of words to go through. But I think that we all should be proud to be who we are, right? Because you can't change who you are. There are certain things about who you are you just can't change, right? Like on a permanent sense, right? You can't change the color of your skin, can't change your eye color, can't change how tall you are, right? I mean, unless you cut your legs off, but I mean then that's a whole other bowl of soup I'm not even gonna get into. Um, so there's just a lot of things that you can't change about yourself, and I think you do need to have a certain level of pride about who you are as a person, like, and the different layers that make you who you are. Should that include the color of your skin? Honestly, I don't think so. I'm going to be honest. I don't think so. I will forever refer to Morgan Freeman. I think it was Morgan Freeman. There's an interview back in the early 2000s, and they're talking about African History Month, and he just said, he's like, I don't want an African History Month. Like, African history is American history. Like African American history, that's just American history. And he said, well, how do we stop racism? And his answer was just so eloquent. Like, I adore his answer. It was, we're gonna stop talking about it. I'm gonna stop calling you a white man. You're gonna stop calling me a black man. We're just gonna be men. That's it. That's how we stop it. And yeah, I think that is like the most elegant thing, Yeah, they did. Yeah, and they really flipped their shit on it later on, though, right? And it's kind of bothersome, because the thing is when you look at that, it's like, for example, like identifying Mystic as a gay man. He's just a man. Like, what? Yeah, there you go. Like what he, like, whatever word you want to use. I know you said before, like, saying preference or something like that doesn't necessarily encompass what being gay is, but for lack of a better term, who he loves doesn't deter from him being who he is. it can be a
I
part of who he is, but I don't think it should be the primary identifier. It's like, yeah, I got a gay friend. Like, no, you just got a friend. Like,
I gotta I call it just your state of being, but the problem with that is right now, even though being gay is such a small part of who I am, the amount of difficulty that my life is facing because of being gay is actually increasing.
okay.
That's why it's such an important piece, right? So um it's weird. But I agree, I don't like pride. Mainly because pride just brings about like a prideful response. It's like it's not what it's really about. It's
Mhm.
about being able to be yourself. Like in it for so long, it's like a rubber band. You've stretched it so thin, eventually it's going to snap.
Yep.
And we're in that snap phase.
Yep.
We were in that snap phase. It's actually gotten worse now because of the changes. And people are fighting about it, and it's such a non-issue.
Mhm.
Like there's been a big thing with the Naples Pride event here, where they weren't allowed to do the drag show in the park, out at the Pride Fest. So they had to move it indoors. And of course, when they did that, they had limited seating, so that we missed out on it. We weren't able to see it.
Mhm.
Nothing sexual about this but it just became a big issue. And it's just, this stuff is such a non-issue. It really isn't. I would love for there not to be a reason to have pride, but who cares if it's there forever? We have Irish pride. Like,
Yep.
pride's a bad word. I agree. I just don't like it. But in the end, yeah, I'm proud that I'm going into work every day and I'm able to say I have a husband and know that that could potentially get me hurt or have a bad reaction. That's
Mhm.
why we need the pride. The Men's Health Month is just something. Men's Mental Health Month is different because it's not about being pride. They're not even on the same docket.
Mhm.
One is about going and celebrating. The other is about, drawing attention to an extreme need that's very necessary. You know, what it's National Hot Dog Month. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. But if it is, who cares? It can be
Mhm.
National Hot Dog Month. It doesn't go well with National Gay or Gay Month, gay whatever it is, Pride Month.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. It might go
Right?
really, really well.
That's what I was afraid of. But it just this is the story that we find ourselves in the United States and maybe elsewhere, but definitely United States. We can only survive right now, and this is not correct. I'm just saying this is how it seems.
Mhm.
The U.S. people in the U.S. can only survive if everything is put into one or the other box. There is
Yep.
no room for us to just be like, no, but it does not need to be one or the other.
No, it doesn't. And this is why I've always said, and I will always maintain that the center is so important. The middle ground is so important, and people trying to push like centrists to one side or the other, that shouldn't be happening, because the center allows for a conversation to happen, allows for understanding, allows for education. Because I don't care what side you're on. Like, I've always maintained that, yeah, I'm definitely what people would consider more conservative leaning or right leaning, I suppose, but I don't consider myself like either Republican or Democrat. I can see both sides of an argument, and I can understand both sides of an argument. And my focus when it comes to political argument is, where's the middle ground? Where's the point where everyone can be like, or most people can be happy and live together in some semblance of harmony? Because
Well,
without the center, you can't.
I think the biggest problem for me with just that in general is I agree, but there are some things that really can't be in the center. Like, to me, you cannot equate fiscal conservative and small government with protecting somebody's individual human rights. They're just not on the same boat. So what we have now is a situation where all things that we do are now becoming almost evangelical to a sort. You know, everything is about the church and theocracy and about being church directed. I was talking to some people today about this, and they made some really excellent points about how this is the way we find ourselves is all about theocracy versus non-theocracy, because the decisions that are being made are not governmental decisions. The conservative groups in general aren't making policy based on conservative concepts. They are basing it upon religious doctrine.
Yep. That's
And-
wrong though. Like,
Yeah.
religion has no place in government.
Correct.
Should
And
never.
being gay, who gives a flying rat's ass? Like, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
It just, who cares? You know what? If the law is that two people can get married, then two people can get married.
Mm-hmm.
Period. That's it. But if they don't like that, then two people can't. Right? That means nobody can.
Mm-hmm.
That's the theory. That's what Pride is supposed to be about. Now it's definitely gone flashy, and
Yeah.
it's all about selling and stuff. But I mean, the Pride event we went to today was actually one of the least marketed events that I've ever seen. Like, it was really all about supporting the community, which was great. It was definitely different.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, I remember, I always go back to this. I remember helping, like back in university, back in college, I remember helping my, one of my classmates, a friend of mine, kind of set up the first Pride parade in upstate New York. And the energy with that was just community. That was it. Like that was the energy. It was just community. People supporting other people, and that's what it was about. And I think the problem is what happens is when you lose the basis, when you lose that basis in any movement, it doesn't matter what the movement is. If you lose the community focal point of it, it becomes warring factions, because then even inside of your own community you have people that are trying to hold on to that semblance of community, and then other people trying to make it into something else that it was never supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, then you start getting other people to react to it in a negative way. It had gotten to a point where people just kind of expected, the pride parades and, stuff like, and it was okay. Nobody gave a shit. Like, most people didn't. Yeah, you still had your, your radical right-leaning, evangelicals that showed up to protest it because, you're all going to hell type of thing. But, they just made
Westboro.
right. But for the most part, they just kind of made it more entertaining, right? They weren't violent, for the most part. They just kind of walked around with their stupid signs, and that was about it. Something happened, and it lost. It went over an edge. At least some of them did, not all of them. And then people started paying attention again, but they started paying attention for all the wrong reasons. And that's why we find ourselves where we are right now.
Yeah, with zero need to pit gay pride with Men's Health or any other month. If there's something underrepresented, the person who has the complaint should work on representing it. It's that easy. You think that there's not enough representation for veterans, then get together with some veterans and make it represented. There's no reason they can't both happen. Men's Health got a month because it was finally recognized that it's an actual problem. Like, it rose to a level of something, and somebody said, holy shit, this is crazy. Men are killing themselves a lot. And that's not okay. So they did something about it and made it representation for it. And that's what happens.
I think both of them, like, they intertwine. I do think that there's a level of interconnectivity.
Oh, yeah.
between
You,
Pride and men's mental health.
I will tell you, mental health wise, the first Pride event I ever went to was the first time I was ever comfortable in public just being present with the person I was dating.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and in the Pride event, it, I've never been to an event like they describe when they're trying to say they're bad, like the sex in the streets and all that stuff. I've never been to one that's had that, and I've been to a lot. Um, there are events that do that specifically, but they're not Pride. So I don't know where that comes from, and I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just
Mm-hmm.
have never experienced it. What I've
I've
always
seen one.
experienced is an unending level of acceptance for human beings being human beings. And
Yep.
if you don't want your children or somebody exposed to it, you don't bring it.
Exactly. No,
You know?
I've been to. I didn't actually. I wasn't present. Like I didn't go to it. It just happened to like kind of happen on the street that I was living on. Here in Mexico, when I first came here in like 2008, there was a Pride parade that went by in June. Actually on my birthday, because for those of you that don't know, my birthday is June 6th, so my birthday was yesterday. And
you should have seen me last night when I remembered it. It was later in the afternoon. It's like, holy shit! So, I'm terrible with that stuff,
Oh no, so am
but I did remember.
you did, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Tree Sap. Thank you very much. But yeah, so I saw one down here that would, I guess, people could potentially describe as being a bit over the top. Because when my point of comparison was the one in upstate New York, right, which was like about community and stuff like that, and then the one that I saw down here was like I saw things that I just didn't want to see. Let's just put it that way. I don't think I can actually say it on YouTube. Like so.
There's no happiness without penis.
Right? So I was just kind of like, what the fuck, man? And they did their thing. They went by. There were dildos all over the ground when the parade was over. I think I can say that. I think that part I can say.
Yeah.
There are certain things done with those dildos that shouldn't have been done in open air, but
Agreed. And see, those things give it obviously a bad name. There are very few people I think that are just generally okay with that, but get caught up in the moments and do stupid shit. That should not be allowed in public spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I
agree.
If there's kids present, like if you have somewhere cordoned off and that's something that's part of it, and people are aware that it's happening, whatever.
Yep.
Not my thing, but that really shouldn't be. It's not public. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But a drag show is not sexual. Okay, that would be a lie if I said I've never seen a sexualized drag show, because that's like 80% of them. But in these events,
Yeah.
in my experience, they have not done that at these type of events because they know kids are there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know that they happen, but like you said, like I mean, I've been privy to certain types of events taking place because of the circles that I moved in college. And guess what? If you don't want to be a part of it, you don't go.
Yeah.
Like
That's why we
everybody
don't
knows
usually
what's
go
going
to
on. Right? Everybody knows what's going on. You don't show up and then act offended because when you go to these things, it's not like it's a secret. They're like most of them are 21 and over, right? And that's not just because of the alcohol. So it's using those as kind of like a launch point to kind of shut down all the parades that do happen during Pride. I think is kind of disingenuous.
Agreed.
You have a question. What's your question, disciple? Go for it. So,
yeah, I'll be interested to see this because I don't know. There's a lot of things that are done that I don't agree with, but it's my job to manage my child if that's the case. But they're going to be exposed to these things, and they need to be taught.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
I think we taboo sexuality so much, and man, sexuality is definitely on a spectrum of things. Whether somebody, that is one thing that I will just not argue with somebody. I'm not one of those that thinks everybody's a little bit gay.
Thank you.
But I do think that if everybody would stop making it such a big deal, more people would be like, if I found somebody that really intrigued me, I might. But there are going to be people that don't want it, and there will be people that do. And I don't understand why that's a problem. It just shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think the one thing with Wicca that's always stuck with me is live and let live. You do your thing and you let other people do their thing, as long as like neither of your things are like, hindering on other people's ability to do their own thing. And that's also like a very left-hand path, LaVeyan Satanist type thing as well.
And like Pride is the events like city prides and things like that. They're done in a specific place at a specific time. People know about it. It's cordoned off. It's not like there's a random group of naked people walking through a street. I'd have a problem with that. I would actually not mind seeing it. Sure. Men and women, naked bodies are beautiful. It does not bother me. But I understand that somebody might not want their child to see that. They shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
But don't go to Pride, or don't go to an event that does that. But even though Pride doesn't do that, like everyone I've ever been to has been very PG, if that.
Yeah, no.
So, and then connecting that to my mental health, like it definitely had an impact on my mental health. And having a men's mental health awareness month is huge, because it gives visibility to people to finally say, like, you're seeing more and more men come out and say, look, I have mental health issues, or, I was watching one of my favorite YouTube doctors, Dr. Mike, if you've never heard him, Dr. Mike Vashovsky. Super nice guy. I disagree with some of the shit he says. He made a comment today on one of his shows, and I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. And his comment was, this guy's, he doesn't believe he is, but you can tell he's very sensitive. He cares about what's going on. He cares about people. He tries to do the right thing. Very nice guy, very good content, fun content. It's really good. But he was doing a personality test in this particular video, and then he says, "Oh, no, I would never let somebody see me cry. No, absolutely not." And I'm like, that's pretty terrible that you have that reaction so quickly to a man crying in public. Like, you can't do that. But you can express that you're concerned about somebody else's health that you don't know because you're a physician, and that moves. It just, having that visibility for men's health, mental health, is, it needs to be more, and it needs to me to be realized that men's mental health is not even a thing that says, well, guess what? Where's Women's Mental Health Month? Well, maybe there should be one. Maybe they can be both the same month, and we go to two different events that month, one for men's mental health and one for women's. Who knows? Whatever needs to be brought to the front is where we need to bring our energy.
Disciple, for the second part of your question, I think Tresap did a really good job of explaining like how, I got connected with Baphomet to start out with, was Baphomet reaching out to me. And there's a couple of videos on that as well. As far as Baphomet being part of like the LGBTQ, if that is the aspect of Baphomet that calls to you, then go for it. I call Baphomet a him. I definitely identify with the masculine side of Baphomet, but it is not a secret that Baphomet encompasses both. Go for it, Mystic.
Just want to ask you a question for my clarity. Do you, and you might have said this somewhere, when you work with Baphomet, do you see Baphomet as like an all-encompassing? I know he presents to you with a masculine energy, but for me, even like the Green Man presents with an initial masculine energy, but it also has a feminine energy with it. Like, do you picture him as being like really the all-encompassing, but he's just presenting to you as masculine, or is there something completely different?
So Baphomet, with my work and my understanding, Baphomet is as a state of being, all encompassing all the time.
Yeah,
Now,
that's how I see the Green Man. So
my individualized work with Baphomet is presented to me as primarily masculine and very, very masculine on like an extreme level.
I'd be interested in sometimes comparing notes about our versions because that sounds exactly how Green Man presents to me.
Yeah, we should do that sometime.
We
So
could
as
try
far,
it.
as
Anyway,
far as
sorry.
Baphomet being an LGBTQ icon, that's something that's fairly recent, but I can definitely see the crossovers and why people would want to, incorporate Baphomet into that symbology, into that symbolism. Um, and there's no issue with it. Like with Baphomet, it's one of those things that it's however Baphomet presents to you. And the only thing I would say is don't let, if you say Baphomet presents to you as a woman, don't let anybody tell you that you're wrong. If Baphomet
Them
presents to
boobies.
you as the masculine, don't let anyone tell you that you're wrong. And if Baphomet, oh, that's the good one. That's the Satanic Temple one.
I've had it for about a year and we broke it, and I just fixed it the other day. You
That
reminded me to
damn
go grab
thing.
it.
I have tried to buy one of those every time they come in stock, and every time I kept the money, it's out of stock.
It's heavy as shit.
Yeah, that's a beautiful fucking statue. I don't necessarily agree with like the recent actions of the Satanic Temple, but I would still proudly have that statue on my altar. So
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but he just triggered me. She said, "Wait a minute,
no, it's all
I
good. It's
just
all
got done
good.
fixing Baphomet's wings."
So, and again, like just to kind of close it out, if Baphomet presents to you, as both masculine and feminine, again, don't let anyone tell you you're wrong. That's the thing with Baphomet is you need there's a lot of duality when it comes to Baphomet, but because Baphomet focuses on the duality of opposites, it inherently enhances the understanding of the spectrum between them, right? So Baphomet is whatever you need Baphomet to be, right? And that's how Baphomet will present to you when you begin your work with Baphomet. So hopefully that answers your question. When I talk about Baphomet, you always hear me say him or he, because that's how I connect with Baphomet. But that's just me. That doesn't inherently mean that you have to work with Baphomet and say Baphomet is a he. So again, hopefully that answers your question. I also know that Baphomet's also become a very important icon with the trans movement as well. So precisely because of that reason. So of what I just explained.
I've been reading a book called Journey of Souls. Very good book. I've talked a little bit about it, but it presents the soul, our individual personhood and souls, if you believe in that, as being having the ability to switch back and forth between lives. Very interesting read if anybody wants to read about near-death experiences and soul matters. It's pretty cool.
Interesting stuff. Rat dog.
This is my bubby.
So with that being said, I think for the allotted time that we had tonight, I think that does kind of cover everything that we kind of wanted to cover, kind of like building out this bridge a little bit. Hopefully it does help people stop fighting with other people, maybe have a conversation. And just for those of you that don't know, I looked it up just to kind of have a statistical number. So per year, the reason why men's mental health became like so important is in the United States alone, there are 720,000 male suicides every year. 720,000 men kill themselves every year. That's an insane number.
It is.
And that's just the United States. That's not taking into consideration, the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, like the rest of the world. Just the United States by itself, 720,000. And I'm going to reiterate this point. There are straight men and there are gay men. And just because we're talking about men's mental health, and usually those commercials show kind of some really masculine looking man that maybe some people can't identify with, it's for all men. It doesn't matter what else you do. Those other aspects of your life don't play a part in whether or not your mental health is important. So hopefully maybe that helps some people kind of like figure some shit out. But that being said, I got to get Tyra fed before she eats my leg. Right, we're gonna go get some burgers, and
That sounds good.
And yeah, I think that's gonna call it. You got any closing thoughts there, Mystic?
Yeah, my only closing thoughts are there's more and more I age, the more and more I realize just how important it is to work together to do things, but how also important it is to let go of all this stupid shit that just doesn't matter.
100%.
Just we spend so much time talking about and moving about things that don't matter. What really matters is, we went out today and had great interactions with great people. We had a good time, enjoyed people. We do our best to help each other and try to do the best we can.
Yep.
And that's what matters.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely does. All right. So that being said, that is going to be it. And as always, everyone, hail thy fucking self. Peace the fuck out. See you in the next one. Bye.